Discretion is advised. So Mama Black.
This program contains language and sequences some viewers may find disturbing.
Right! Good to see you again. You're doing well.
Thank you. I was confused by this because I thought the whole point of Black Lives Matter, one of the points would be to speak out against singling people out on the basis of their race and punishing them for that. Because you can't control what your race is, and yet they seem to be doing that. Explain that to me.
What I say to that is boo-hoo-hoo. You white people are angry because you couldn't use your white privilege card.
Diversity, a concept whose time has passed.
No, I think that what you're saying here is he's picking the best people for the job, and there's plenty of cabinet picks and other positions that have not been filled yet. I mean, you're talking about 4 people that are overly qualified for these positions, people that have been well respected in the community. He thinks that we need to get things back on the right track. There have been issues at many of these agencies. He wants to change things, and he picked the people that he thought would be the best for the job. Okay. So I don't think it's anything to be worried about yet, because it's 4 picks, top 4 picks, good people in these positions.
Mark, they pick the best person, regardless of whether or not that person happens to be a white man. Your response?
Yeah, that's always the argument for not picking black people for things. That's always the argument for not picking women for things, is that we just pick the most qualified person. Typically, when you have cabinet picks or any job opening, there are multiple people who are in the mix. Some people are not qualified, some people are incredibly qualified, and within that mix, there are often a diverse range of people. Part of what you want to put forward in an administration or in a corporation is a diverse front, so that you see the value of having diversity. Diversity is not a hookup for black people. Diversity is its own benefit. Institutions are better when they're diverse. Problems get solved differently. According to scientific studies, I know some folk don't believe in science, but studies also demonstrate that problems get solved more creatively, more dynamically when things are diverse. And so, but unfortunately, finally, this is part of Donald Trump's whole thing. We want to make America great again. We're going back to an old time when things were different. Now he's going back to an old time when administrations were all white.
Campus craziness, and tonight the title is not an overstatement, it really is crazy. Consider Evergreen State College in Washington and Olympia. Every year the school holds a day in absence. In years past, non-white students symbolically left campus and attended anti-racism events. This year, student activists demanded that all white people leave campus or else. Brett Weinstein refused. He's a professor at Evergreen State, and he called the race-based demand, quote, a show of force and an act of oppression. In response to that, here's what happened.
This is not about you.
I'm talking. It's all about him.
On terms of white privilege. This is not a discussion. You have lost that one.
You said some racist.
Can you apologize?
I did not. Okay.
Stop telling people color the useless. You're useless. Get the out.
History could pivot in the direction of the values that you are standing here for.
Yeah, resign.
What?
Resign.
Resign.
Go home.
Wow. Professor Brett Weinstein joins us now. Professor, first of all, thank you for coming on. That looks like something, out of Phnom Penh, 1975. Was that, what exactly was going on there? What happened?
Well, what happened is that 50 or so students decided to disrupt the class that I was holding that morning and demand my resignation. Because you wouldn't leave campus because you're white? Well, they imagine that I am a racist and that I am teaching racism in the classroom, and that has caused them to imagine that I have no right to speak, that I am harming students by the very act of teaching them. What happened after the video cut out? Well, that's an interesting story. The campus police apparently showed up outside of the classroom. The protesters then blocked their entrance. I did not call the police, someone else called the police, and they were concerned for my safety. But when they tried to come into the building to make sure that I was okay, the protesters blocked them. And because the issue of policing is so sensitive at the moment, the police had to run around and find another entrance to the building to get inside and check with me. At the point they did that, the protesters moved on and corralled the president of the college at his office. They extracted some demands from him. Among the demands was that there would be a meeting, well, actually, demands is perhaps the wrong word, a concession, that there would be a meeting at 4 o'clock in a large room on top of our library building. So That meeting took place at the end of the day, and believe it or not, it was far crazier than the video that you showed.
To the Black Lives Matters All Black Memorial Day celebration. Wow. Let me contextualize that for you. Memorial Day was created by...
I don't want you to... Wait, slow down. First of all, I don't want you to contextualize.
Right? I need to contextualize it because Memorial Day was created by black former slaves in 1865 to honor those individuals who were Union soldiers who fought and died for our freedom. So Black Lives Matter, in that same vein, decided to get together with black folks.
I'm not going to let you filibuster past my question.
Black folks were celebrated for being murdered by racist terrorists.
I don't want to shut this down, but I will. Okay. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I just have a really simple question for you. If you don't like people excluding others on the basis of their race, and as a society we agree that that's bad. I agree it's bad. You agree it's bad. Then why are you doing it? And why are you defending it now?
White folks crack me up all of a sudden when we want to have one day for black folks to focus on ourselves. But you've been having White Day forever. You don't say the words anymore because you know it's politically incorrect. But you've had an all-white Oscars, all these movies with all-white actors, movie after movie after movie, all-white TV shows with white casts over and over and over again. The Bachelorette, it took 11 seasons of a black bachelorette. Are you serious?
It's hard to believe. I hope you're not speaking for anyone else. I hope there aren't a lot of people in this country who agree with you.
My name is Lisa Dirt, and I'm speaking for Lisa Dirt.
It's not true. It's not true. I mean, what you're basically saying is Donald Trump is a racist, and anyone that he picks is not African American. Therefore, must be by default some sort of let's go back to an old time and African American have influence.
No, Ben, I don't hear Mark saying that.
I don't think I said that at all. He said we're going back to an old time.
That is what he says. Make America great again. That is actually
1989. 1989, not 1979. Look, here's my thing. He's president-elect. He gets to pick who he wants to pick. He's picking qualified individuals, and his cabinet is not full yet. We know that Donald Trump has talked a lot about diversity. We know that he's talked a lot about women being high up in his company. We know that there are going to be people around him that are going to be qualified in different positions. Yeah. I just don't see it as an issue of somehow he's sliding anyone.
The whole story is so over the top that even though we do a lot of these, it's hard for me to believe it's real. So the core demand is that all people of your skin color leave the campus. Your president is a guy called George Bridges. Where was he? Why isn't... There he is right there. George Bridges is supposed to be running this school. Why is he allowing a mob to threaten one of his professors?
Well, I must say, I have some concern that the story is so strange that it's not even going to make sense to an audience that isn't local to the campus. Dr. Bridges is allowing this mob to effectively control the campus, and they have been in control since 9:30 on Tuesday morning. At this moment, I believe Dr. Bridges is answering a set of demands put forward by the protesters, and they have said that if he does not accept their demands, that there will be violence. I do not know what his response to those demands is going to be, but I know that that's taking place at this hour. He has also told the police to stand down. So although the campus police have a sense of what it is that needs to happen in a circumstance like this, they have been hobbled by the fact that they answer to the college administration, and in fact for several days have been barricaded in the campus police station.
I just hope there aren't people watching who agree with you, because what you're saying is so hostile and separatist and crazy. It's such a basic violation of what I thought we all agreed on, which is you don't attack people for things they can't control, namely their race.
It's not an attack. I'm stating the facts. People get weddings where they exclude children. It doesn't mean they don't like children. They don't know if your kids are going to be monsters and those kids are going to be well behaved. So in that same vein, Black Lives Matter decided to have one day where they didn't want white folks who were going to be off the rails. They don't know if you're going to be the ones behaved and for them or the ones who are there against them. So they picked one day to do the celebration.
Let me just ask you a quick question.
Go right ahead.
Do you think it's racist to exclude people on the basis of their skin color?
I think it's racist when you've been excluding people for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Why don't you answer my question and stop with your silly lectures? I'm asking you a very simple question.
We're forced to come together collectively to celebrate ourselves because you guys won't. You are the larger society. Let's be real here.
You guys, I'm talking about what I thought we all believed. Let me ask you this. Do you think it would be fair if white people did come to a Black Lives Matter celebration?
They do all the time. When you look at Black Lives Matter,
do you use the same water fountain that they do?
And you see Black Lives Matter coming together collectively for different issues. You see people of all races. So we do accept them. This particular day, they said, stay your asses out. We want to celebrate today. We don't want anybody going against us today.
And you can't celebrate if someone who doesn't look like you is around?
Yes, you can, but you can also say, I don't want to do it. It's a personal choice.
You're sick, and what you're saying is disgusting, and if you were a Nazi, I would say the same thing to you. Gosh, this is like something out of another country. It's just hard to believe any of this is real. And just, our viewers should look this up online, because there's a lot of pieces to the story. It's hard to convey on television, but you had this, I thought, powerful line in your letter, and I assume you're no kind of right-winger. If you teach at Evergreen, I'm sure you're, a Hillary voter, but you had this. No, not a Hillary voter. I'm a deeply progressive person, and I must say There you go. I'm troubled by what this implies about the current state of the left. Well, you think? You said people shouldn't be allowed to speak or not on the basis of their skin color, which seems like a foundational belief of the left, and one that I agree with strongly. And for that, they physically threatened you and are trying to get you fired. This is unbelievable. They are absolutely trying to get me fired, and they believe that my words in my email are transparently racist, and I think we're caught quite off guard when people who were not at Evergreen read my letter and couldn't find any racism in it. Well, yeah, just the opposite. Professor, Godspeed to you, and I hope you'll come back with an update on this story, because it's really one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Thank you. Because what you're saying is indistinguishable from what they are saying, which is, I don't care your opinions, I don't care your views, your life experience, your intentions. All I care about is the way you look, something that you can't control. And on that basis alone, I'm judging you, and I'm hostile to you. That's the case you're making, and it's divisive and wrong. And it's amazing that you didn't have to say that out loud, but I can't believe you're making the case you're making.
Unfortunately, when you have a racist society like America, you force individuals to come together collectively to make sure that they have a voice. And that's unfortunate that the racism has caused people to come together collectively.
Let me ask you a question. Is there a single white person in America you would have let into this?
Now, into the celebration. I'm not Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a movement.
You're just an apologist for this.
However, I can respect the decision. It doesn't mean it's a decision I would have made. Maybe I would have. Just like a wedding where I might say your kids can't bring their badasses in my wedding.
Children are not an ethnic group. Every person in the world,
You're discriminating against people with kids. You're saying don't bring your badass kids.
Would it be okay? Yeah, but you see, okay, but there are white adults and Asian adults and Hispanic adults, and presumably they're basically the same as black adults, but you don't agree with that.
We have gay pride parades. We have Puerto Rican Day parades. We have all kinds of parades and days that honor individuals. We have Mother's Day. We have Father's Day.
Fathers are allowed to participate in that.
Just take your mama out,
not sure you're even capable of having this conversation, so I'm going to end it now. Let me just ask you one last. Let me ask you one last question, and be totally honest with this. Do the people in your world, your parents, your siblings, your kids, your friends, do they agree with you on this?
My family respects my right to free speech.
No, don't give me that dumb answer. I mean, do they agree with what you just said? Do you know a lot of people who agree with what you just said?
Speech.
Whatever. No one's contesting it.
I'll see you next time on your show. You'll be inviting me on again.
Do you know a lot of people who agree with you?
Tucker, I'm going to see you again in less than a month. Ratings are going up.
I don't even know what you're talking about, and I'm not sure I look forward to it. But thanks for coming on tonight, Lisa.
Bye.